welcome to my podcast. Believe it or not, I'm 57 years old, and I just watched the Jack Black movie School of Rock for the first. Oh, my cat just jumped down for the first time, and I'm mentioning that because I'm gonna draw some inspiration from the Come From Behind story there, which I really loved. But if you hear crickets in the background during this YouTube introduction, it's because I live in the North Woods of Vermont, and it's kind of hard for me to turn off the crickets for you. So anyway, I live in a forest that is extraordinary, and I live by a huge lake called Lake Willoughby, and on this, I don't know, do you call these podcasts, this YouTube broadcast and channel, I want to take you to the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont and bring you around to some of the most incredible scenery, because, believe it or not, the leaves are already starting to change. It's August 25th, and it's just going to become insanely beautiful all around me. And I live in a really cool place. It's called Barton. The town is Barton. And in Barton, a lot of magical things happen to me, believe it or not. I mean, actual magic. We were renting an apartment in the town of Barton for about 2 years. And during that time, I had a profound change in my life. I mean, I was a pretty open-minded, pretty much empirical son of an engineer who didn't look at life as being either half empty or half full. He looked at the cup as being not up to spec. And I guess you could call it a revelation. I mean, I had a psychic experience, which I didn't think was... I mean, I was open-minded to people who describe psychic experiences and things like that, but I simply never expected to have anything, like not being gifted with music. I didn't think I was gifted with the ability to have a psychic experience, but I literally had thoughts that were not of my own origin happen, and a timing of events of things that was really on the extreme of improbability. So the reason I mention that is while I was doing a meditation, which I had learned from a real master, luckily, as I was doing a series of meditations, I seemed to be getting like a training for a fourth meditation. And on the night of the fourth meditation, I was struck by a powerful energy that it really completely shook me up. I mean, for days I was taking baths with salt water and baking soda, Epsom salt and baking soda, trying to calm myself down, and I was sleepless, and I was doing all sorts of trying to calculate and figure out what the heck had happened to me. And the news came out, and it said that a meteor had passed right over Barton, Vermont, like literally right over the apartment I was in at that time, and it was witnessed by hundreds of people in southern Quebec and northern Vermont. And so I became really fascinated with the fact that I believed that I had been struck by the discharge energy of this meteor. And it turns out that Barton, Vermont, is the site of the first meteorite ever found in Vermont history. And that happened in 1987. And the locals described the meteorite as being full of iron filings and sandy. It wasn't like a solid core iron meteorite that would have pounded into the earth. It broke apart very easily. And this is really important because in looking up stuff on meteors, I found out that there's a type of meteor called an Albright meteor, which is named after a place in France. And the Albright meteor has a very low iron content, like the iron filings they described on the Barton meteorite, I should say. To clarify, a meteor is the meteor that burns up, the projectile that burns up in the sky, and the meteorite is a meteor that actually strikes the Earth. So the one that went over my apartment caused a bolide, or a fireball in the sky, which was witnessed, if you want to know a little bit about meteorites. But the Albright meteor is very interesting because it holds the charge to the outside of the meteor, not to an iron core. Iron is magnetic, holds magnetic charges, and as meteorites fly through galaxies sometimes, but even around a solar system, it picks up charges whenever it passes through all sorts of gaseous fields or whatnot that are floating around, apparently. And it builds up kind of like a balloon. I don't know if you ever went to a kid's birthday party and took balloons and rubbed them on your shirt. You could then stick them on the wall, and the static charge was the positive and negative charges that were held in place around the outside of the balloon. Now, picture a meteorite traveling galaxies, picking up charge around the outside, and then as it goes to the Earth, the meteor is not that solid, so it burns up, and then at the last second, all those charged particles discharge to the Earth, and they call that the Albright component. And it is my firm belief that what struck me on March 7th was the Albright component, or the electrical discharge, kind of like a bolt of lightning from a meteorite. And there's an incredible story that leads up to that, and on this channel I'm going to detail all the amazing events in my life that made me realize that there was just no possibility that my life could have been up to my own free will. I mean, I have to make choices just like everybody else. I'm not insane and think I'm some sort of puppet or anything, but I was in certain places at certain times in my life that became really, really fascinating. And I'm going to bring that to you on little, I guess, broadcasts like this on this YouTube channel. And the other thing I'm going to be bringing to you are little episodes that were an experimental film. I'm an amateur filmmaker. I've never sold a work before, but for 11 years I would go on a couple of shoots, or maybe 3 shoots a year, to various thought-provoking events that were coming up or locations in the world. And I would bring with me a whiteboard, a dry erase board, and I would let people at those locations write whatever they wanted at free will on the whiteboard. So I'm going to bring you some of the interviews I did with the people who wrote on the whiteboard from places like Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. I went because they were burning the confiscated tusks of the elephants that were poached in Africa, and I have a real passion for Africa. So at that time it was off-season and plane tickets were cheap, and I went as a one-man crew and filmed the tusk burning and the reaction of people there and in Nairobi. So I'll be bringing you that. I've been around the United States. I went to LA, and I actually interviewed a YouTuber out there who maybe might link this, a guy by the name of Ralph Smart, and he gave a very nice speech for my whiteboard. And so I'll be bringing you episodes of that. And behind me is the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, which is just a gorgeous place. And I was a professional scuba diving instructor. I actually am still a teaching status professional scuba diver, I should say. And right next to me is a crystal clear but cold mountain lake that has really deep dives, really deep wall dives, and I'm going to film myself exploring first the shore dives, because I don't have a boat or a diving base, but I do have some tanks and a compressor and a dry suit, and I'm going to document the challenges of setting my weights, and even I'm going to overhaul my my regulator and my gear so everything is all current and really, really safe. So that because Willoughby has very cold water, and that presents a lot of challenges. For instance, you can get frozen condensed breath inside your regulators and things like that. So we're going to go over all that, and I'm going to tell you a story that's really unbelievable. And I know this because after it happened, I've been trying to write a book about it for the last, ever since March of 2021. So I just want to tell people what happened to me. So hopefully you will stay tuned for future episodes.
It's just weird.
Excuse me. Shooting a little documentary film. Do you have a couple minutes to perhaps be in it?
What is it on?
So my film is called Whiteboard.
Okay.
And I've been traveling around the world to various interesting places and thought-provoking places with a whiteboard. And I go up to people like you and I say, have you ever wanted to send a message to the world or maybe take a stand for something? If you want, you can write whatever you want on my whiteboard, and I'll simply ask you why you wrote what you wrote.
Okay, that's great. I'll do it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
And where are you from?
I'm from London.
You're from London?
London.
Oh, great. Okay. We give you a chance to write a message on the whiteboard, and I'll just ask you why you chose to write that particular message.
Okay, I guess I could do that.
May I ask your name?
It's Pam.
Pam. And where are you from, Pam?
Well, originally here, but I live in Florida.
Oh, really? So you're originally from New Orleans?
Yes.
Itself? Oh, wow. That's great.
No. What did you want me to do?
Right, now just hold it right in front of you.
で言ったことをコード絶対する絶対するそうわかりましたかっこいいそうやかっこいいめっちゃいいよはいもうちゃんと書いてんやん何がよちゃんと書いてんのが嫌やん全然やしちゃんと書いてんめっちゃいい感じやからないい感じやんねいい感じほらいける面白いよいいですかはいこうやって持ってじゃあこっち持ってで何を言えばいいちょっと待って
Right now, what's your name?
Pauline.
And where are we right now?
We're in Karen near a university, Catholic University in Karen, Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, why did you write that?
I feel like in the world right now, we're very selfish. People are really into themselves and about what they can do and what they can get from everyone, and they never think about what they can give. And I feel like we are humans. We are born to take and give at the same time. It's not just a one-way street. So I think people need to learn to love more and hate less. Be less selfish.
You hold it one more time. Missouri-sana.
Karibu. Welcome.
There we go. Free. For me, being free is your birthright, and once enough people around the planet can realize that this is the life we came to live, just to be like the rest of the animals in nature, to realize that so many of us, we're living in a man-made construction, and the more you go into nature, you just realize that we came here to be happy. We came here to be free, and we have to do what we love. We have to fulfill our passion. More so, we have to start not caring what other people think so much, and that's all about being free. when you can let go of society's expectations and you stop caring what other people think of you. And really, you realize that this is it. You don't have all the time in the world. There is only now, so you have to do it right now. So stay free in Venice Beach. Thank you.